been a while since I did a book review, but this one really deserves some love. So this is Shōgun by James Clavell, and I want to talk about it. Not because I want to tell you what happens in it, you can read it, but because it did something to me that I'm still trying to understand. So if you think about patience, right, not the wait your turn in line kind, the kind that terrifies people, the kind where someone sits in a room full of powerful, loud, aggressive men and they say nothing, they do nothing, and it looks like they're losing, looks like they're finished, and everyone relaxes because they think the quiet one is no longer a threat. But what if being quiet was the plan all along? That's the question that this book has put in my head, and it won't leave. Okay, here's what I can tell you about the book without ruining it. It's 16th century Japan. An English sailor, Blackthorne, washes up on shore after his ship barely survives the journey. He's stranded in a world he doesn't understand. A world where the rules are written in a language he can't read, literally and otherwise. He's a meat eater. They eat raw fish. He thinks bathing every day is insanity. He looks at this civilization built on silence and ceremony and honor and thinks barbaric. These people are barbaric. And that's where the book starts to do its work on you. Because slowly, really slowly, the way a tide comes in when you're not watching your feet, Blackthorne starts to change. He tries the fish, he learns the bowing. He begins to see that cleanliness here isn't vanity, it's respect. And silence isn't emptiness, it's where the actual conversations are happening. That the thing he never had, patience, might be the most powerful force in the room. And hovering over everything is a man named Toranaga, a warlord. A man who, and this is all I'll say, treats the world like a falconer treats his birds. He lets them fly, he lets them hunt, he lets them believe that they're free. What that means, you'll have to discover for yourself. But I promise you, when you do, you'll just sit there the way I sat there. The thing that I keep coming back to weeks later at odd hours is that this book is set 500 years ago. Portuguese missionaries, English sailors, Japanese warlords, cultures that had never touched each other, suddenly breathing the same air, eating at the same table and trying not to kill each other, and sometimes failing. And you watch what happens when worlds collide. Not the version we see in textbooks, dates and treaties and territory lines, the human version. The version where a man who's eaten beef his entire life takes his first bite of raw fish and his whole identity cracks a little. Where a woman born into shame finds something that looks a lot like glory. Where everything you thought you knew about strength, about power, about what it means to be civilized, all of it gets quietly dismantled page by page. And I kept thinking, we're supposed to be past this, right? It's 2026, we're connected to everyone on the planet through a glass rectangle in your pocket, and we still flinch when someone different moves next door. We still think our way of eating, praying, living, grieving is the right way. We still confuse loudness with leadership. There's a concept in Japanese culture called mononaware. It roughly translates to the bittersweet awareness that everything beautiful is passing. That the cherry blossom is beautiful because it falls. That the most exquisite moments in life carry their own ending inside them. And knowing that, fully knowing that, is what makes you human. This book is full of that feeling. Characters you'll fall in love with who are too large for the lives they've been given. Loyalties that will break your hearts precisely because they're unbreakable. A kind of honor that we don't really have a word for in English. Where your values aren't something you have, they're something you are. And you'd rather die than separate from them. I know it sounds dramatic and heavy, and yeah, it's a big book, but it's also, and I wasn't expecting this, really funny in places and tender. And human in ways that surprised me because I went in expecting a war novel and came out understanding something about patience and sacrifice and what it actually costs to hold power without making a sound. I don't know if this is a book review. I don't have a rating. I don't have a score. I don't have a system. All I have is this. I finished this book and I looked at a world a little differently the next morning. The way I think about patience changed. The way I think about cultures meeting each other for the first time changed. The way I think about quiet people in a room full of loud ones, that changed most of all. And I keep thinking about the falcons, flying where they think they want to go, never once looking back at the wrist they launched from. Of course, it's also a famous HBO TV show that you might have already watched, but I would still recommend going for this book.